Well, we might be fleeing for our lives from fire in the next day or two, but for now, I need to make something for Ed's crazy barbecue cook-off. Hi there, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my world. We are cooking for Ed's BBQ Cookoff today. Yeah, so Ed's BBQ Cookoff, I know I shouted out a few people and I haven't heard responses from them yet, but I'll give them a little kick again today. That would be Melissa over there at Melissa Archbold and Hans and Zenobia over there at Helping Hans and Zenobia McQuitty. And Lana, I called out my sister Lana. She's supposed to do a video of her cooking, barbecuing too. But anyway, I am in the kitchen today. I appreciate you coming to hang out with me, and I'm going to show you what I have going on. So we're starting with this boneless, fresh, oh, is that gonna, beef brisket. Whole boneless. Now Ed says you have to cook meat, apparently, so I mean I don't mind cooking meat, but yeah, so let me get this rinsed off and then I'll show you how I'm going to prepare it, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about my rub. We'll get that rub on there. So this is a pretty small brisket. It's only a little over 2 pounds. And it shouldn't take that long on the smoker, but it should still be a good size for us. I had actually asked for 1 5-pound brisket, but that is not what I got. So I'm going to cook these separately. Anyway, the first step is to trim the fat off of here. We don't want, I mean, you want to leave a nice fat cap on there, but you want to trim some of it off. You don't want it to just be all, you don't want people to grab big chunks of fat when they bite into it. That's kind of gross. But yeah, especially with this, like, look how thick that is. That's a pretty fat chunk of fat. So I've just got the usual suspects here for making a rub. I've got my paprika, onion, mustard powder, garlic powder, and just a touch of some hot chili powder, and brown sugar, of course. Gotta have your brown sugar in a rub. Hoping the camera doesn't fall over. Okay, so I'm going to start with 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And you see, look at, I'm measuring and everything. And then with the paprika, I'm going to go 3 tablespoons of paprika. 1, 2, 3. You know, technically you're supposed to have this all measured out ahead of time, aren't you? Sorry. Uh-oh. Should at least be able to open this, right? Thank goodness for cutting and editing. Okay, so then we're going to add a tablespoon. Actually, we'll go a little light on a tablespoon because this is homemade garlic powder and it is quite potent. So we'll go about 3/4 of a tablespoon. We'll do the same with our onion. This is homemade onion powder as well. And then we're going to go in with about a teaspoon of mustard. Now you can adjust these measurements to suit your taste. And if you want to add something else in, by all means, or if you want to leave something out, by all means. You are the boss of making your own rub. Now, this is a hot chili mix. It's actually chipotle, cayenne, and some orange, what was it? Orange carrot hot pepper that I grew in my garden last year, and I just dehydrated them and made them into a powder. But anyway, I'm just going to put a pinch of that in there because Mom and Dave are not big fans of heat. I like to add the flavor, but I don't want to put too much of it in there because, like I said, they don't like the heat. So, and you're just going to mix that all together. You don't have to use a whisk. I find it's the easiest. My onion has a few clumps in it. If you watched my making onion video, my onion powder video, then you know that it tends to clump up. I find as long as I use it regularly, it's okay. But if I let it sit for too long, it can get pretty dry. Okay, there's my rub. Now I've made more than I need for this, but we'll get a little bit on here and then I'll be putting this away and that. So, get my rings off. And let's sprinkle rub. Get right down in here, rub it in. Try to keep one hand clean if you can. There, now this, you can actually start cooking with this rub right away. I'm actually going to be letting it sit overnight. And I'll be smoking it tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully before it rains. Because it is supposed to rain tomorrow, which is good for a fire. So there you go. There's my brisket. And it is rubbed with my delicious spices. And now I'm just going to put it just like this and let it dry age with this rub on it in the fridge. And I'll be back tomorrow to show you the rest of this. Yeah, so I upped my game a little bit. And I got some apple rum barrel smoking chips. They are now soaking in some water. And I've got my beautiful brisket here. Look at how yummy that looks. It's been soaking in that marinade for about 12 hours, I guess. And then I bought this little box. And it's actually a little smoking box to put in your gas grill to help it to develop smoke. So that's what we're going to be using today. We're going to give it a try. And we're going to try smoking again. And if it works, we'll submit it for Crazy Eds BBQ Cookoff. And if it doesn't work, what will we do, Mom?
We'll have to eat it anyway.
We'll have to eat it anyway. That's right. Alrighty, so my wood has been soaking for a while. I'm not actually going to dump it. I'm going to grab it by handfuls and throw it in here. I don't want to spray the water all over the place. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to heat up and start smoking. And I'm going to go get my meat and my other stuff that I'll need out here. And I need to make a mop again. Okay, so for my mop today, I'm going to use, this is a Palm Bay Blackberry Zero, Blackberry Lemon, actually, and it tastes, it's got a tang to it for sure. So we're going to start with that. And then I'm going to throw in some of this fabulous Monticello Cellars wine vinegar, and this is the chili basil. And I'm going to throw a bunch of that in here, probably a couple of tablespoons anyway. Look at that. And then I'm going to put in some of the rub that I made up last night that I put all over my brisket. I'm going to put some of that in there. And we're going to give that a good stir. And this is what's going to go into our mop underneath. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. So temperature-wise, we're just about where we want it to be. It might be a little higher for than I like for my taste, so I will probably turn it down a touch. And of course, the temperature will drop when I open this up. So here we go. Let's get this going. Now I'm not getting much smoke from this, so I'm gonna move it so it's more. So it's more on top of the fire instead of under the fire. And hopefully that will get that smoking. And, okay, so, I don't know, Alex, I don't know how you do all that you do with one hand. It just blows me away that your videos come out as well as they do. Anyway, there's our pan. Here comes our mop. Put that in there. This also becomes our drip pan, right? So, and then we need to find out which is the fatty side on this brisket. Push this back. And which is the fatty side? I'm pretty sure it's this side that's up. So let's, can I grab it? Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. We did it. Okay, so, oh, look at that. And we're getting some smoke now, which is what we're hoping for. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that down to low and close this up. I should have started this brisket at about 2 o'clock, and instead it is 4 o'clock. So it'll be 8 o'clock again before we're eating, because it's going to take at least 4 hours. It's a fairly small brisket, so I know I don't have to do it all day long, because it's only, you know, like not even 2 pounds, I don't think. I'm just sitting here outside and I'm smoking for Crazy Ed's BBQ, smoking a brisket. First time I've ever smoked a brisket. Second time I've ever cooked a brisket. And I remember the first time I cooked it, I'm not sure, I don't remember if I did it in my Instant Pot or if I did it in my crock pot, but it was delicious either way. Here we go with mop number 1. I forgot to bring my secondary grill out here to make this easy to pick up when it's done, but it shouldn't be too bad. And closing we go. Back up to temperature and be back in an hour. So yeah, the sun has gone down and it is starting to get dark, but I am still out here cooking. And I was just in here opening this, and I totally don't know what happened to my recording, but it died. But I'm going to open it up again and show you what this beauty looks like. I just checked the temperature. My smoker is working like a charm. My drip pan is catching everything. my brisket is looking fabulous, but I don't know how much light and how much we'll be able to see the next time I check it. It's only up to 155 in the middle, and one thing about brisket is you want it to cook, and you want it to actually cook to about 200. And then you want to wrap it, and you want to leave it sit for a little while. So I'm going to be out here for a while longer. I am quite surprised that my little 2.5-pound brisket, or 2-pound brisket, is taking this long to cook. I honestly thought it would be done in about 4 hours, but apparently, like I said, it's my first time smoking brisket, so I'm gonna be out here in the dark, in the dark. Well, I'll show you a picture of what my garden looks like in the dark, so. So that was definitely a lesson learned. It was after 10 o'clock when that brisket finally was cooked enough for me to be ready to take it off the grill. So it got wrapped in tin foil and put in the fridge overnight, and now we have sliced it up. And so today, to make it extra fabulous, I'm going to make some of my own homemade barbecue sauce, and I'm going to make some homemade bread to go with it, and we're going to have some nice barbecue brisket sandwiches for dinner tonight. So it all works out in the end. To start the sauce, we're starting off with, I've got 4 pieces of bacon here that have been diced up into pieces, and I'm just going to cook that down for a little bit, and then I'll show you what else I'm going to do. Well, my bacon is sizzling away, so I'm going to go ahead and throw my onion in here. And we're going to let that cook for a few minutes until this onion gets nice and soft. My bacon is cooked and my onions are soft, so I'm going to come in here with, this is 4 small cloves of garlic. Of course, just like any cooking that you ever see me do, you can adjust this for your own taste. Now that's pretty standard so far in a barbecue sauce. Well, maybe not bacon, maybe not whole onion, but anyway, so the next ingredient is a little more what you might be used to seeing. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat down a little bit. I've got a cup of ketchup. Actually, that was not quite a full cup. I'm going to try and squeeze a little bit more out of the last of that jar. And then I have a cup of jam. Now this is strawberry jam. Usually I use grape, but I didn't have any grape. So I'm going with strawberry this time. But you really can use any kind of jam that you have available, and you just want to get this nicely stirred together. And it might seem kind of weird to put jam into a barbecue sauce, but it really is delicious. And then the last 2 ingredients, I have 2 tablespoons of whiskey, and that's just whatever whiskey you have on hand, or you can completely omit the whiskey if you don't have any whiskey around. And then the other ingredient is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, which I find is essential for this recipe. And
You say you have whiskey?
Of course I have whiskey.
Do I get any?
Sure.
Too bad I don't want any.
I was going to say, since when do you want whiskey? Okay, so I'm going to let this cook. I don't know, I'm going to bring it up to a bubble and then let it simmer for 5 or 10 minutes, and it'll be ready. We can put it into a dish and let it cool. So there's our barbecue sauce, and now it's time to make some bread. Okie dokie. So I have got here 3 cups of flour, and this is a mixture of white flour and whole wheat flour. I'm putting in a little bit of salt. My recipe calls for a teaspoon, but I don't like to use that much salt, so I'll just put a little bit in. I'm going to have a tablespoon of baking powder. Look at this. I measured stuff and everything, guys, and I have it all ready to go. 1/4 cup of sugar. You should tip you down a little. I don't know. This is a new angle. I've never tried it before, but I didn't want to pull everything out. I've been so crazy busy. Anyway, 3/4 cup of shredded cheese. And then the recipe calls for 2 green onions sliced thin, but I have some of this chopped onion from my barbecue sauce left over. So I'm just going to use that instead. And I need to mix this together. Now, beside me here, I hope you can see, I've got my bread pan and it's all greased and ready to go. And my oven is preheated. So now the recipe comes from a place called Sugary Sweets. And sugary is spelled S-H-U-G-A-R-Y. Sugary Sweets, and it's a cheesy onion beer bread. So the next ingredient is the beer. Which, even though we don't drink, we always have on hand. I'll have to go get more because that's like one of 2 that we had for we have a buddy that comes over that likes to have a beer now and then, so we entice him to stay with one now and again. Anyway, I'm just going to mix this all together as well as I can. It says to mix it in as few, what does it say? Use as few strokes as possible, mix in until it's moistened. And so that's definitely moistened, and we're just going to put it into our pan. Okay. I don't know. Looks kind of iffy to me. Press it down, I guess. And it doesn't have to rise or anything. Apparently, the beer and the baking soda will make it rise. Okay. I'm going to trust the recipe and stick this in the oven, and yeah, I'll be back in an hour. We'll see how it turns out. Well, my bread is ready. I don't know. It needs to sit and cool for a few minutes, and I'm melting some butter on the top of it. We'll see. It looks very crumbly to me. Like really crumbly. I don't know what it'll be like. It's supposed to be soft on the inside with a crusty outside, so we'll see. I'm not much of a baker, in case you didn't guess that. Brisket.
You and that stupid candy. God.
Are you gonna taste my sauce?
Brisket. Sauce.
Mess.
Pretty good.
Finger looking good, sauce?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm out of here.
Okay. Dave might not want to taste it in front of you, but I will. Got a beautiful smoke ring. Delicious. That sauce is just the right amount of sweetness to it to really complement the meat. That rub is fabulous. And the smoke taste it's very, very subtle, but it's definitely got a nice smoky flavor to it too. So I'm going to say thumbs up. That's how you smoke a brisket. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget Ed's Crazy Barbecue Cook-Off, or Crazy Ed's BBQ Cookoff. I'll leave the link down in the bottom. Take care. Have a great day. Subscribe if you haven't already. You really, 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 really should. And yeah, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye now. I totally forgot to try the bread. It's really, really heavy. And really crumbly. But it tastes pretty good. So that's a plus. And when you dip it in the sauce, so good.